It's the Real Estate Podcast, brought to you by ANZ Home Loans for financial well-beings.
And welcome back to another episode of the Real Estate Breakfast, talking property news, of course, 7 days a week, up to a Tuesday, the 16th today. And you can hear us on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, as well as Amazon. Well, nice to get Monday out of the way. Now, you might have caught up on this news, but I'm going to mention it again anyway. And that is that home buyers are again on alert after a recent scammer robbed a man of over $153,000 during a property settlement. It keeps on happening, and it's going to keep on happening if people are not paying attention. You've got to be so incredibly careful when you are transferring large amounts. Criminals intercepted emails between this particular buyer and the lender's settlement agent, sending a fraudulent email with slightly altered addresses that went unnoticed. The fake email provided a new bank detail for the settlement funds, resulting in the theft. In fact, in 2024, as far as WA is concerned, there have been 11 victims that have lost over $500K to similar scams, surpassing last year's total. Property settlements are the most targeted, but the WA Consumers Watchdog has said that the scams have also occurred during vehicle purchases, building contracts and funeral payments. Now, these scams are often involving hacking email accounts and manipulating high-value financial transactions. It is a low-life behaviour, whichever way you square it. But come on, funeral payments is scraping an already filthy barrel, isn't it? So you've got to, before you send any money, follow all of the protocols from the real estate company and make sure that you are on the phone and you are reading out that number, that set of bank account numbers, and you're getting that absolutely authorised. Right, so that's the little sermon speech this morning. Right now, let's catch up with Asti Madiasmo from PRD. It's a real worry, isn't it? Because property transactions, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. We had that case, probably a couple of years ago, where that woman lost over $750,000. Boy, that really does hurt.
Yeah, definitely. We've heard so many cases like this. Like you said, how about, the different email? Something that I've noticed whenever I get like a phishing email is that the font might be a little bit different. So even though, for example, it might say, PRD real estate, the PRD and the real estate, like the ATE at the end might be in like a different font, or the .com might be in a different font or something along those lines. And those type of things people don't pick up because, it's a similar looking email. It's a familiar looking email. So they think nothing of it. But if you actually look at the email itself, the font is different.
Yeah, that's a good point. The font is different. So you've just got to be awake at the wheel is the main thing, and be on the phone. Talk to the real estate principal and find out that those numbers, those bank account numbers, are all correct. And yeah, it's just unfortunate that people get caught out, but you've got to be awake here. It's a large amount of money. You cannot just take for granted that the numbers that are supplied, if a new email turns up, hey, here's the email address, you've got to just double down, double, triple, quadruple check to make sure that everything is legit. Now, let's go to stage 3 tax breaks. Now, this is kicked off from July 1. And I guess for the property buyer, they could be looking at this quite favourably.
Definitely. So stage 3 tax cuts, like you said, came into effect on the 1st of July. And basically what it does is that it increases your disposable income a little bit. So say, for example, if you are earning, $80,000 a year, last year in the financial year 2023-2024, your disposable income or your take-home income is about $39,000, depending on what sort of benefits that you get. So with the stage 3 tax cut, that goes up to about $40,000 or $41,000. That means that you do have a higher disposable income. And so when you are going to the bank to, borrow money to buy your house, then they will think that, or they will see that you have a higher income and they will be able to lend you more money. And when you do have a higher borrowing amount, then you are possibly going to be accessing a different type of property, or you might be able to go for a property that is, out of your reach.
Yeah, indeed. So that is quite significant, of course, and it remains to be seen as to whether that's going to make things easier or whether people will just retain the status quo. All right, well, we'll come back and we will talk more property with Asti after this.
Every morning from 6 a.m, we bring you the latest real estate news with diverse perspectives from leading industry experts. We deliver the most property podcasts across Australia every week.
I see that after years of unprecedented growth, residential construction costs have stabilised, showing the slowest annual increase in 22 years. That's according to CoreLogic's Construction Cost Index. The second quarter of 2024's national figures recorded a modest 0.5% rise. That is down from a 0.8% increase in the first quarter of this year. And CoreLogic says that while growth in costs have returned to normal margins, construction remains nearly 30% more expensive than pre-COVID. And they say that the easing of cost growth combined with higher established housing prices could, they say, help restore builder profit margins and confidence in pricing for new builds and renovations. So that has got to be a good thing.
As we approach 1,000 episodes, a big thanks to all of our guests for their insightful knowledge, trends and forecasts. We look forward to another 1,000 episodes together.
And it is a Real Estate Tuesday. We're catching up with Asti Madiasmo there from PRD. And Asti, in fact, of course, your beloved Queensland. We were just yesterday in Noosa talking about some of these crazy rental price hikes that have been taking place in the area on the Sunshine Coast, the Gold Coast and Brisbane as well. And, when it comes to rents being hiked up, it is a real concern when you look at the inflationary problem because of the correlation between the two.
It definitely is. And you are absolutely right. I mean, across the board, we are seeing rental prices being hiked up anywhere between 10% to 20%, which is something that renters have had to cop for quite a while now. And in terms of inflation rate, so rents make up one of the goods in the inflation rate basket. So it contributes to inflation. And it's one that is really, really sticky. It hasn't moved at all. In fact, it's gotten a little bit more worse in the past 12 months. So at the moment, rents contribute about 7.4% towards inflation rate. And that is actually higher than housing prices. Housing prices contribute 5.2% towards inflation rate. This is data as of May 2024. If you compare it to others, like alcohol and tobacco contribute 6.7%, clothing and footwear contribute 2.8%, even health, 6.1%. And I know we're all grappling with electricity. Electricity contributes 6.5% towards inflation rate. And so the fact that rent is at 7.4% is actually quite high. It's higher than some of those things that I've just said. And it is a sticky one because it has stayed at more than 7% for the past 12, 18 months.
Yes, it is just one of those little indicators that the RBA is paying a lot of attention to right now. In terms of real estate, we talk about that all the time, but I want to talk about you travelling because you've been to Glenmore Park, you've been to the Blue Mountains. I guess this is one of the upsides. No wonder we want to get out on the road ourselves. This is one of the upsides of your job. You get out of the office.
It is, and it was such a great time. So yes, I did go to Glenmore Park and Blue Mountains last week. I did a presentation for our office, our Penrith office. They have two. So went up to Blue Mountains, presented about the Blue Mountains area and what's happening in the economy right now. Same thing with Glenmore Park. And I tell you, it's two very different markets when you're on the ground. And it was amazing to be able to see the architecture and the type of houses because, you know, like you said, being able to go on the road, that's what you see. Going up to the Blue Mountains, all around that Lura, that Katoomba sort of area, I feel like I was back in like old English town, you know, like I feel like it was real winter, not like here in Brisbane where it's super sunny and some people don't have coats on, like, you know, so I really feel like that is what winter is supposed to be. And of course I saw the Three Sisters as well. So it was really interesting to see that part of the world and that part of a housing market and that type of architecture. And then on the same day, making my way back down more towards Sydney and to Glenmore Park and starting to see, you know, the houses and the townhouses, the construction work that is happening, the more modern sort of like style. So it was really interesting to see that even though both markets are growing, like in terms of their price, they're in market recovery right now, the actual stock is really, really different from an architectural perspective.
Yeah, and just coming back to Glenmore Park, is that something that you have featured as part of your reporting, that particular part of Australia?
Yeah, so we do have a report on Glenmore Park. We have looked at, all the rental yields, the vacancy rates, the price growth in Glenmore Park. It is an area that is definitely growing for the past 12 months, about 6 to 7% growth, a little bit more affordable compared to Sydney. Median price is over $1 million in Glenmore Park, but not as high as Sydney, which is at 1.4 at the moment. And definitely high growth, about 9% per annum over the past 10 years. So we've definitely done quite a bit of digging into the Glenmore Park area.
All right, fantastic, Asti. We'll leave you to your nomad PRD lifestyle, and thank you once again for coming on to the Real Estate Breakfast. Enjoy your Tuesday.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Ready to step up your property knowledge? Access powerful insights with us. Don't navigate the real estate market alone. Let us help guide you in the world of real estate every day. Make better informed decisions with the latest news and insights.
This is interesting. A lot of investors are buying into Noosaville and they're then renting out the property. They're travelling off overseas, are they, for 12 months and then coming back?
Yeah, yep. So I've got a couple of landlords at the moment that they've sold their property, let's say within the Sunshine Coast region or any other area around Australia, and they've decided to travel for 12 months overseas or, around Australia, and then they're renting their properties out for that period with the option with a possible extension to tenants within the region.
Do you think there's any mixed messages in the market of Perth at the moment for that very reason that is stopping vendors from listing and moving on?
No, spot on, Craig. We're talking about people that are living in their own home. They are paralysed. You are spot on. So we could triple what's coming on the market if they could find something. That's typically what they say to us.
We connect you to the best real estate information across Australia. The Real Estate Podcast.